Agraharams are nothing but pure Brahminical settlements, where the Pathshalas were there. I mean, it comes right from the Chola period or Sangam era period. So there has been complete destruction of the Agraharam culture. So we have with us to speak on this important topic Dr. Radha Tevar, and she's an inspiring educationist, academic consultant, social worker, and a proud Hindu nationalist. Dr. Radha has devoted her life to dharma, nation building, and through her Annapurni Educational Trust, she works relentlessly for the education of underprivileged children, especially the girls. So, welcome Radhaji for our program. And I would like to invite you to first speak on this topic of marginalization of Tamilian Brahmins in Tamil Nadu, the historical um, baggage. I mean, we haven't spoken much about it. Otherwise, we do now speak about genocide of Kashmiri Brahmins in Kashmir. But this is our own people attacking us. So, this is something which is spoken less about. In fact, the attack is almost Nazi-like. Like Brahmins are seen as Jews, Tamilian Brahmins especially. In fact, it's far worse. At least Jews make a big noise, and then they have seen to it that their genocide is being talked about. But Tamilian Brahmins, our own community, lacks voice. Our own community doesn't come out and speak much about it. At least now we've started this initiative. That is why we have this Global Brahmin platform. So, Radhaji, please shed light on this issue.
So, thanks for the opportunity that is given to me. Actually, there is an issue. First, to understand the gravity of the issue, I would like to say one saying actually, which was told or which was like to spread from the year 1960. So, I'll tell it in Tamil and I'll translate it in English then. So, பாம்பையும் பார்ப்பானையும் பார்த்தா பாம்பை விட்டுட்டு பார்ப்பானை. So this is a saying, right? When you see a snake and a Brahmin together, you have to spare the snake and be the Brahmin. So this is a saying. This sums it all. The kind of a hatred that was spewed, or the venom that was spewed against the Brahmins, you can understand this. This all started, actually what you said was true. It all started with the British, so the British started it. But before that, let us go step by step to understand why. See, Brahmins are hardly 1.5% in Tamil Nadu. Across India, they're only 3%. In some of the states, they are on a higher side. But in Tamil Nadu, they're only 1.5%. So that's a number that there. In spite of that, why is it that this kind of a hatred was spread against the Brahmins? What is happening here? And even today, it is happening. Sadly speaking, today it's becoming worse after the DMK party came into power. Even during the ADMK period, I have not seen such a kind of a venom being spewed against the Brahmins. But again, I could see that it is started again, and again this is happening. And to add on to all these things, along with the Dravidian parties, you can see the minority people joining hands with them. So that is a starter state. So they talk about Brahminism and they talk about Brahmin. Still, they talk about the Varna system. Still, they talk about the Aryan invasion, which was actually, Ambedkar himself, said there is nothing called as an Aryan invasion that happened at all. In spite of that, they keep spreading about it. But let us see one by one, what is actually happening. In Tamil Nadu, it is a different scenario altogether. So we have different names for Brahmins, right? You call them Parpans, you call Brahmins, and you call them Andanas. So what happened here? Then we have these Ayers and Iyengars, Ayers who are following the Smata tradition, that is Adi Shankara, and then Iyengars who are the Vaishnavism, who follow that. But we also have another one sect, which is the Sri Lankan Brahmins. Not much is known about them, but they come from this Arya Chakravarti dynasty. A family went and settled there and it grew. But more than this, if you look at it, there are certain things, so it has been ingrained in the minds of the Tamilians that Brahmins are not to be, believed or trusted. Because I came across one lawyer whom I spoke to, we had a casual talk, and so he started telling that, oh, I never thought that Brahmins would be like that, but I'm not a Dravidian party person, but then I feel there is some problem with them. Like, then I said, what is the problem? See, then he started, uh, he said in Tamil to me, like, modikul modi vechu pesradhu yaru. Meaning, he said they speak a different Tamil altogether. Why should they speak? That itself shows they want to, be separated from the Tamil community. They don't want to mingle with Tamil community. But one thing he didn't understand, there is a lot of dialect in India, in Tamil Nadu, especially if you look at it. Nagarkoil Tamil, a person in Chennai will never understand. It's a completely different Tamil altogether they speak. And in Madurai, it is different. And if you go to Coimbatore, if you see that there, it's entirely different. And if, of course, the Muslims speak a different Tamil altogether, a lot of Arabic words inside that. So this is something like, it is already prevalent across Tamil Nadu, but in spite of that, a Brahmin speaking a different language, a little bit difference in the language, they can't accept it. So they think the supremacy of Brahmin is something that they believe that they were trying to assert. Of course, see, when it happened some years back, long years back, thousands of years back, there was a clear cut division of work given to the people. So the Brahmins, of course, they were allocated for the rituals to be performed, for the pujas to be performed. Of course, they were entitled with, saving the culture, with saving the Vedic, culture, and also, of course, they were considered to be gurus also. So the Brahmins imparted knowledge also for the people who are around. They were Thinnai Pallikudams, we call it as, right, people who were studying in Thinnai or the lofted places, in front of the houses. My father studied in one such school. Okay, I know that because we lived near an Agraharam. I know very clearly he went and studied there. So they imparted education not only for the Brahmins. Actually, these Thinnai Pallikudam, they imparted education for all the communities, even the the so-called now the Dalit people, community also came to have education. But the problem during those days, it's not the people were not like, I want to have education, I will become a doctor or an engineer. Education was for a different purpose, and they had their own professions, jobs, and careers. Some were farmers, some were like, following their family business, some were doing different types of business. So they thought knowledge is important, education is different, and knowledge is different. I don't want to combine both. So here, what happened when education was given in the hands of Brahmins? Of course, obviously, the children in the Brahmin families, started having more education than the rest of the family. But that doesn't demean any of the caste or community here. So, and people looked towards a Brahmin, like, for getting any kind of a suggestions, or they were like a kind of a minister. So if they have a problem in the family or in the a problem in the village, people used to go to a ayar or a guru and then ask for some kind of a solution to them. So it was more of a harmony, like, the relationship between the, or if you look at it, people lived in a cordial relationship, any kind of a village setup, it existed. But then suddenly the Muslims came in. They understood people were being given, so the knowledge that was given to us is like, we didn't have any written records, so the Brahmins were carrying it forward to the next generation. So they understood this Hindu knowledge. Our Hindus are carrying their knowledge through the Brahmins. That is where the problem started, actually. And to my surprise, I was, I understood that a lot of Brahmins have converted to Muslims. They have converted to Islam. And there is this Syed Muslims. Prominently they are Muslims. If they are Brahmins, if you ask me, like, so when
Mhm.
there was this this I came to know from a pracharak also about this, like, so from a RSS person, like, so when he was telling, like, there was a bomb blast after this, the Babur Masjid demolished in 1992. There was a bomb blast in Chennai RSS office, and Surya Naraji, he convened a meeting with the, and there 17 people died in that, including a small child.
Mm.
So he convened a meeting with the Muslims, and he was asking them, like, so he was asking, like, so what is the problem? Why are we, like, so most of the Muslims, he was telling, like, so you were Hindus earlier, and then you converted to Muslims. So most of you were Hindus and all, but then he started, and he said, like, so most of you might have been, Hindus, the other communities. I'm talking about Nada, Severs, and all. So you people have converted, but we are all Hindus. But then, to the surprise, they said, no, we were Brahmins. One of the persons started telling, like, we were Brahmins earlier, not any other community here. So that shows that a lot of Muslims have also converted to Islam during the period of Mughals. Like, so it might be due to various reasons. Forcible conversion would have happened, and various other reasons they have converted. So now what happens is the Muslims who are considered to be on the, they also have their own hierarchical setup and all. Who are on the top, they are considered to be Brahmins. They say that, we converted from, we were Brahmins and now we have converted. Now coming back to the issue that we have right now. Now there is a church, so we have this Wesley Church in Chennai. That was the
Mhm.
first time, like in 1841, James Hervey, he started speaking against the Brahmins. So he wanted to put down the Brahmins and bring about a division between the Hindus. That was the first time that he started. Like in 1853, if you look at it, I'm talking about one time, wherein a lot of people in Trichy, I believe, Brahmins suddenly converted to Islam. They all became
Mhm.
Muslims. And from 1920, that was the period, like, when this Justice Party came into place and all, like, during that time, lot of Brahmins left their villages. Till then, they were living in the villages, they were doing farming, agriculture, they were doing other jobs as well. Very few, a minority of them were priests. If you look at it, not all the Brahmins were priests. 10% of the Brahmins were priest, rest of them were doing different jobs. So we should also understand that not all of them were priests. Now people are talking, like, against the Brahmin priest and all. Even if you take the temples, the priest in all the temples, and Tamil Nadu has the highest number of temples. Not in all temples the priests are Brahmin. Okay, so where, only few and Brahmins are priests in few prominent temples. That is what is the problem here. So these bigger temples, the temples that collect more money, so these are the places where, this Dravidian parties are focusing their eye on. That is where they have started bringing in, we will bring in priests from all communities. But there is no genuineness in whatever they are doing. They can bring in other community Brahmins, no doubt about it, no problem about it. But there is no genuineness. A priest is not born, made just like that. He sacrifices his entire life and family for that. It's a
Abs-
continuous learning. The entire
abs-
family has to follow the ritual, not only the priest. The entire
abs-
family, his wife, his children, everybody has to follow that. And how much they are being paid? 1,000 rupees. And I met a priest in near Savahangai, one village. When I went, I met. He said, "I'm getting 500 rupees." And I just saw the house that he's staying. So the worst house that I could see. Like, he didn't have money for making his children, having a good education, even for food and everything. Is, but he's doing his job. And most of the priests are like that. Very few temples only earn money, and they have, and even that money now, our religious endowment board is taking it off, and they get only what we as a Hindu give them. Now again, a law has come in, like, they have put a geo, like, even that money should be given to the government. Nobody should
Yes.
take even a single paisa from the plate also, whatever they are giving.
Yes.
Now that situation, when I saw that person, I was so, like, grief stricken. I was saying, like, we talk about the Dalit community, which is marginalized, they are suffering. There are umpteen number of Brahmin families, priest families, who are suffering to the core. They are women, they don't have education, they don't have proper health care, and they don't have, the place that they live in is so horrible. They don't have enough money to get even a one day meal. It is all there. And to put this point across, I would say, like, we never said a rich Brahmin. In all our stories and everything, it is always a poor Brahmin. So it was never a rich Brahmin, right? So the same situation is there. But most of the, Brahmins have left now the priest job, or the one that they were doing, the noble profession or the noble work that they were doing, the priest job. They have left it and they have gone to some other jobs. Of course they are excelling in their field. Now at what cost? At what cost is my question. Like, the other communities have lost their cultural knowledge, their Vedic knowledge, because it's the Brahmins who were imparting all those things. Now they are leaving this field, is going to, have a big dent in our religion and cultural knowledge, what our next generation is going to get. So I'm only scared of that, actually, if you ask me. Now coming back to this, The Ayers have lived in Kaveri Delta and all. If you look at it, Madurai, Coimbatore, Palakkad, you have a lot of Agraharams and people. But to my surprise, I found that in Nagargoil, there are 13 percentage of the population is Brahmin population. That's a news for me when I was just started doing this research. Now, the Agraharams, let us also talk about it because it's very important for us. The kings actually gave them this Chadurvedi Mangalams, we call them,
Yes.
okay, Brahmodayams or. So now these are the places granted or given by the kings to the Brahmins for and with a temple. It will always be a near a temple to take care of the temple and to take care of the culture, Vedic knowledge, and everything. So this is one thing that they did. But what is happening to the Agraharams? There are so many Agraharams. I have visited most of them. So whenever I go to the other places, visit, I have been to the Agraharams. Sad state of affairs. Whom to blame?
Yes.
We cannot blame anybody else other than the Brahmins because they
Absolutely.
left their home, they sold it. I can give you another example. There is this Natakote Chettiars who are living near Karekodi, right? Now they also have a separate, if you had seen, it's a wonderful place. Actually, if you go architecture wise, and they have their own way of living, but they never sold their houses to anybody outside. They are maintaining it still at the cost of whatever it is. So that grit and that kind of a commitment towards your own community you never had. So that is the saddest state of affairs, because even I spoke to many people, many Brahmins. I have a very close Brahmin friends and all. Nobody is bothered about it. Nobody is even bothered about it. So this and to add on to that, now the Dravidian party from 1920 onwards, they started marginalizing Brahmins like anything. Now you will never see any of the Brahmins appearing for the TNPSC exams or the Tamil Nadu board exams. You will never see them. Civil service, of course, they were telling 40% has come down to 10% now. So not many of them are there. Government jobs are no for Brahmins. They cannot get into the government jobs in Tamil Nadu. Of course, the 69 percentage of reservation. With that
Mm.
goes nothing for the Brahmins. And if you look at it in the forward caste, are there only Brahmins? No, there are other communities as well. Like the Pillais are there, and other communities are also there. But the Brahmins are the ones that are being marginalized in that. And another thing that I can say also, if you look at it, they have lost their jobs with the government for sure, and they have lost the education also. What is happening is, in the government schools you don't get anything for the Brahmins. It is all for the reservation people and other things. So what is happening? So you cannot give good education in government schools for the Brahmins. That is also not possible there. So what is it? They have to put them in the private schools, which is so expensive for them, which is not affordable for them. We see one section, of course, there is a 70 percentage of 65 to 70 percentage of Brahmins are highly educated, and 20 percentage too highly educated, and they have left India, Tamil Nadu. Most of the Brahmins have left Tamil Nadu, but there is another 20 percentage still in Tamil Nadu suffering with, they don't have voice at all. They cannot raise their voice for anything. They,
Absolutely.
if they raise their voice, they'll be penalized for this. So this is what we are calling actually. This is the kind of a persecution happening to the marginalized section of the Brahmins, not the
Yes.
other Brahmins. I'm talking about those 20 percentage who are staying in Tamil Nadu, sticking on to their rituals, sticking on to the culture, sticking on to their own community. What are they getting, and what has the Brahmin community done for them? Of course, the Dravidian parties are completely to be blamed for this. From 1960 onwards, it was horrible in the sense, like, they faced every kind of persecution. Like, they were beaten up, their janus were pulled apart, they were called by
Kick.
names, and the Brahmin ladies were insulted to the core. All sexist comments. In fact, I would say this with a very heavy heart. I would say, I'm from Madurai basically. So when I shifted to Chennai, like, I was, trying to shift to Chennai, and then I was talking to so many people. And suddenly, and when I spoke to many people, there were some people who came and told me so many things about the Brahmin community in Chennai. But till in Madurai, it was not the case. Actually, we were in, we had, we used to go to the Brahmin houses. In fact, they were all like family members. But when I wanted to come to Chennai, it was so nauseating, I would say, or it was so horrible. and so negative. The comments that I heard about the Brahmins, especially about the Brahmin women, was horrible. So, in fact, even I had then got, why is it so much of negativity being spread about the Brahmins and the Brahmin women, especially? So then they started telling so many things. But then see, any community you will have people of both the categories, good and bad. You will have. It's not only the Brahmins, all the communities. Not all communities are like devatas here. Every community is going to have that. But why are you you are actually pointing out to one particular community and giving all the bad things to that community, or attributing all the bad things to that particular community? This
But
question,
Radhaji, I would like to tell that they actually like to target the Brahmin women as trophy wives too. I mean, it's a two thing here. They like trophy wives as Brahmin women. They're targeted the most. And I completely agree with you. And with regard to the priest community, we have a separate Gurukul community. Especially in Tamil Nadu Brahmins, we have a separate Gurukul community. For example, even I am an Iyer, but we cannot act as priests. There's a separate Gurukul community, even in the Iyers and the Iyangars. And they marry among themselves, and their offsprings can only be the Gurukuls because they have been taught in a particular way. The whole Vedic system, Vedic karma kandas, and everything, only they are allowed to become archakas in temples and perform the karma kandas for others. So it's a very specialized micro minority section, Gurukuls. That is why, and very rightly you said, pointed out that hardly they get 500 rupees as salary. Even I have seen them wearing coffee colored. Literally, the dhoti that they wear, the veshti that they wear is so dirty. I mean, it's become coffee colored. And in fact, they put their own money in certain temples. Although the HRNC has taken over 44,000 odd temples, most of them do not have money even for 2 times of lighting of lamps in the temples. It is the Brahmin priests who, even out of penury, they want to continue that tradition and they give the money for lighting the lamps there. I completely agree with you there. And there is one more thing that you pointed out. Yes, our Brahmins themselves have been apathetic towards this cross. I completely agree with you on that count, because in an Agraharam, like my maternal side, Agraharam is in Lalgudi. Now that place has become literally Christianized. Only my maternal family is holding out, and my grandfather's grandfather's brother's son, he is holding out there, and the rest have become all Christians have taken over or Muslims have taken over. He wanted to buy another house there in the same agraharam, and the person did not sell it to him. He sent the Brahmin person, he sold it to a he chose to sell it to a Christian, just out of enmity or God knows what. So we do need to clean our house too. I completely agree with you on that count. Not only that, we have very prominent people like N. Ram, who comes from Kasturi Rangan. Perhaps you can enlighten us on that the Hindu, which has become now anti-Hindu, which had a very good role during the pre-independence era, Kasturi Rangan family. So that is spewed anti-Brahminism and anti-Hinduism. And you have Kamal Hassan, of course, he's also a Brahmin, so-called Brahmin. T.M. Krishna, again, he comes from a Brahmin family. If we can see, you can enlighten us about the nonsense that he spreads about our triumvirate, Carnatic singer triumvirate, be it Tyagarajan ji yeah, or Dikshitar ji. So please enlighten us about that too. And how do we tackle this problem? Number one. And how do we involve? First of all, we have to save the Veda Pathshalas also. And how do we? In and I would yeah, let's get that and then come to the other.
Actually, if you look at it, so I would also like to say, since you talked about the Christian, this is Therandur. That is the place or a village where Kambar was born. Or he wrote the Ramayana in Tamil, right? Now there was an agraharam there, Devadi Raja Perumal temple is there. Near that, there is an agraharam. Now there is no trace of it. There is no agraharam at all. There is an Arabic college that has come up there when where once agraharams were there. And in Needur also, if you go, so in Mailaduthurai, that's a place I went actually. They
Mm-hmm.
have lost their complete identity there. Okay. So, and if you look at it like Mailaduthurai, Kumbakonam, so those
Mm.
places, Pattamangalam, all those places, lot of agraharams. Now, nothing is there. Lot of Muslims are living there, and and there is a Somanatha Swami temple. It's completely people have
Destroyed.
started taking up residences there. Now, again, if you look at it, there are a few things. Since you were talking about T.M. Krishna and others, first you would say, so Brahmins, primarily they are Tamilians to the core. Starting from Tolkapiyar, who wrote the grammar for Tamil, Nakirar, Kapilar, Nachinikiniyar, Bharadiyar, Vali, and all, you spoke about the Kamala Hassan clan, all are Brahmins, actually, if you look at it. And if you look at it, Brahmins have been kings as well. So people don't, recognize them or actually, tell them as a green. But there were kings, they were generals. For the Tirumala Nayaka, there was a Brahmin general who worked with him, Ramapiyan, his name is. And there was Kannan, who was a general of Kulothunga. And then if you look at it, Rajaraja Brahma Maharaja. So that was a kingdom of Vengi, right? So he was a, and if you look at it, there were Dravida Brahmins. Actually, if you look at it, Dravida is not non-Brahmins, actually speaking. Brahmins were Dravidas. They were called as still till even today we have near Guntur, Dravida Brahmins are there. Okay. So, and again, if you look at it now, coming back to this, they had agricultural lands. How did they lose all these things and they became like kind of paupers, I would say. Finally, they
Mm.
became paupers, and from there
Yeah.
only they took on. Okay, so there only they started giving education to their children, and then they started getting into other professions and started earning. But then if you look at it, they had lands which were given by the kings to them. But in 1950s and 1960, if you look at it, there were this land reforms that were brought in, which actually stripped off all the lands from the Brahmins. Many of them lost the lands there. That is where they started migrating toward the villages, from the villages to the urban areas. They started there, and then they started educating, and slowly they started moving out of Tamil Nadu. That's how we lost many of the knowledgeable, educated Brahmins from Tamil Nadu, is because of this, because of all these reasons I'm talking about. And if you look at it, we had leaders. For example, Jayalalitha was an Iyengar, right? And Rajaji, the best of all.
Mm.
We had him also, and we had Manishankara here, Subramania Swami, and Venkatram. But these people operated from Delhi. They were never in Tamil Nadu, actually. 1967, when the DMK came to power, hell broke loose, I would say. It was horrible. Then the persecution started then, and still it has not ended. And my worry is even the Brahmin community has not understood that. There are a lot of Brahmins who are supporting DMK even now. It is not
Yes.
that they don't support. They haven't even understood that they have lost their cultural values. They have lost their lineage actually. They have lost so many things which were preserved by their ancestors. Now they are losing their identity of Brahmins also. See, they are called as Andhras. The Vedic identity given to the Brahmins, they've lost it. In fact, the Vedic studies have been happening continuously in our country. For thousands of years it was continuous. It's word of mouth. It came from one generation to another. But next generation, is it going to get that? I don't think so. So there is a big question mark that if that is stopped, and if we don't get that, Hinduism is in a bigger danger, because we are not going to get that values and knowledge and culture from the people who are supposed to teach us. Then what are
Yes.
we going to have? Slowly we are also forgetting that, and we are also losing it. And the Hinduism, it will lose its that core knowledge which has been given to them by the Brahmins. This
Yes.
Brahminism that they're talking about, what is Brahminism? If you ask them, they will talk about all the problems and issues that we had. Of course there will be problems and issues. It's not only with Brahmins, with all communities, all the places, all the countries, everywhere the superiority and inferiority complex existed. I'm not telling it is only, the Brahmins who felt that. There are many places, even inside a family, one person will feel superior than the other person. It always happens wherever human beings are there. This kind of a disparity or this kind of a problem arises. But persecuting a particular community in the name of that is what is dangerous, and that is what happened here. Since they prayed to a particular god, that god itself was, people were naming it as Aryan gods and North Indian gods. All these things happened. Even division between the gods have been brought in here. So more than anything else. So this is because, they thought whoever the Brahmins were praying to, or they are like, following that god or that kind of a practice, should be alienated from the Tamil society. Tamilians. So that is where that Sirudaiva Vadipadu we say, right? The family deity and other thing. In fact,
Mm.
Brahmins also had their own family deity. Nobody will even talk about it. They talk about
Yes.
Sirtaiva Vadipadu family deities only for the other communities. No, even the Brahmins had all those, family deities and everything. But nobody will talk about that. They say that the Tamil gods and North Indian gods, may God. So that kind of a thing. Now coming back to the art and culture, if not for the Brahmin community, we would have lost our art and culture. So that is the main thing that you see. See, this art and say Carnatic music or Bharatanatyam, these are the two things that we talk about. These two things were never with Brahmins. It was with the different communities, Pillai communities, Isabella communities, and other communities, Devadasi communities. They had it. But they were in the verge of losing that. That is the time the Brahmins came in and took over, and then they passed it on. So everybody should understand that, otherwise we would have lose these big culture and art, from us. So what happened here is like, all of us know that, there were non-Brahmins. MS Subbalakshmi was not a Brahmin, actually. She belonged to the, Devadasi sect. Actually, she came from that community. We had Rajaratnam Pillai, Tyagaraja Bhagavathar, Subramanya Pillai, Madurai Somu, and we had Yesudas, Chinna Maulana, so many people actually. Now TM Krishna, who's from the Brahmin community, now he is slamming the Madras Music Academy and all those things. See, there are wherever there are group of people who are trying to, form together, there will be issues. It is not that we don't have issues at all, but the way that he slams at it is different. Now, this Bharatanatyam, which was called Sadiratam, right? In 1932, the Madras Music Academy actually passed a resolution to rename it as Bharatanatyam. Because otherwise it is also called as Devadasi Atam, and there was some kind of a repercussion towards that. People felt that it is not appropriate, so they named it as Bharatanatyam. And in 1928, it was started. This Madras Music Academy was started by Ramasamy Iyer. So, and this is also because of the All India Congress session that happened during that time, 1927, I believe. So they brought in this year. Now they were who were the people there? It is not only the Brahmins who were there. Of course, Aryakudi Ramanuja Iyengar and all were there, but Budukote Dakshinamurthy Pillai was there. So the Sanjeeva Rao. So these people were also in that. But what happened here is, if they had not stepped in, we would have lost the Carnatic music, because
Yes.
what happened at that time is the British brought in here. They said this Devadasi group, they were doing not they were not preserving art and culture, but they were falling a prey to the flesh trade, and they were actually using it for some other purpose. So they wanted to ban it completely. Devadasi system was banned at that time. So what happened is immediately the Brahmin community and others stepped in, and they gave a different name altogether, and they started, taking it in their hands, and they started passing it on to the next generation. If that has not happened, today we would have not had the Carnatic or Bharatanatyam. But now people might say, like, Carnatic is music, as TM Krishna says, it is completely in the hands of Brahmins. No, there are other people who are also there. Of course, Brahmins took it in a big way. Whichever community comes forward and takes it in a big way, they will take it. This community took it. That's what I understand. Now, Bharatanatyam, if you look at it, now every other community people have started learning Bharatanatyam. But I
Mm.
also see one more thing. So, Bharatanatyam, what happened recently? We had this issue in Chennai. Even the Christians started getting in. What happened? There
Yes.
were a lot of issues that happened in that particular place, and now they have come forward and they are telling, like, exploitation of the disciples were happening there. So many issues happened, and they were not Brahmins, they were other community people who were there. So this is not a community based problem, I would say. This is people based problem. If good people are there, good things will happen. If bad people are there, bad things will happen. And this does not mean a Brahmin will be there, the problems will happen. Another community person is there, the problems will not. No, it is not like that. This art and culture was saved and passed on to the next generation Tamils by the Brahmin. And I think the other communities should actually accept this and owe a lot to them. If not for this music academy and everything, with the globalization and with the Western music and everything coming in, we would have lost it very easily.
Absolutely.
Cinema has made a big mark, and people have, literally forgotten about our ancient traditional, art and culture and everything. But now it has come to us, and people are taking it in a big way and learning it from others. They were, and to put it precisely, if I would say art and culture, Brahmins were never into it initially. But then, when problems happened and it was about to die or about to be completely banned, they named it differently and they took it forward. So, TM Krishna may be a forward thinking person. He thinks that, doing that is a, now they call it as a fad, right? He takes it everything as a fad. Wearing a lungi and coming and sitting on plays and singing Carnatic music. He thinks it's a fashion for him, but no, it is not so. All of us have some kind of a tradition. Let us respect it. Our ancestors were not fools to bring in some kind of a code of conduct,
Yes.
and let us respect it. TM Krishna is a genius, no doubt, but at the same time, he behaves crankily, and he thinks that these all things, whatever he does, will break the barrier of caste. This is not here. What he is doing is not breaking the barrier. It is actually distancing the people from them, distancing the people from the culture that we had earlier. So some of the Brahmins like him, and I would take S.V. Shekhar also, like for an
Hmm.
example. All these people, like they don't understand. They think it in their own terms. See, they are all well off. They have broken the chain. They have broken that whatever persecution they had, and they have come out of it. And literally, they have joined hands with the Dravidian party and Dravidian people. Of course,
Communist.
Dravidian party people have Brahmin women inside their family also. They have
Yes, yes.
actually married into Brahmin families. So they think that they are. It is a fashion to talk about being a Dravidian, or I belong to this particular. I am open-minded. I am forward-thinking. That Pagutarivu they talk about. All these things they will talk about. But think about the people who are suffering silently for ages and generations without getting any of the benefit that you have got because you have been the stooges of DMK or the
Yes.
Dravidian party. They have never supported anybody, but still they are suffering. What about them? What have you done for them? You talk about other community. You talk about Dalit people. Of course, Dalit people, we have our own reservation. There are a lot of people supporting them. There are a lot of people trying to uplift them. But what about this? I would say the modern day Dalits, the Brahmin, Gurukul community and others, they become modern day Dalits, untouchables, in fact. So they are being marginalized, they are being penalized, they are being persecuted, they are being haunted, they are being, given all sorts of problem by the so-called Dravidian parties and other people. What have you done to them? Have you even raised your voice for them? Who will raise a voice for them? That is a question I will put forward for the Brahmins who have come out of this shackle. And the Brahmins who have come out of, they have left in Tamil Nadu, fine. Go have your wings, fly, come to the top, everything. But what is it that you are given back to your community? What is it that you are given back to your society? What is it that you are given? I would take Nadar community for an example for this. Every forum I take them, how they have joined together and how they have brought their community out of everything. Now you cannot talk anything against a Nadar. You will be, you will be looked out on, you will be beaten up. But you talk about any Brahmin woman, nobody will even bother about it.
Yes,
Brahmins
but
themselves embrace
Nadas
violence.
have converted to Christianity in a big way, I think. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, they have converted. I mean, in particular pockets they have converted, but still they all join together as a caste and a community, even if they
yes.
convert. But Brahmins are not like that. There are a lot of issues within their own. The Tambrams of Tamil Nadu itself. I have my own, so I don't want to comment on them. But then I think like they unnecessarily take issues which are not relevant today, but there are
Mm.
issues that are really relevant today which has to be taken up, and where people have to support and come out in open and talk about it, not in social media, on the roads. If you don't
Hmm.
come out and support your own community, slowly this community is
Yes,
dying.
I
And
agree.
you know that the Brahmin guys are not getting girls, girls are not getting
Yes,
married, guys are not getting
especially the
married.
Gurukuls. Gurukul
Yeah.
community is the one with suffering. Actually, the Podu Dikshitars of Chidambaram temple, Sabanayagar temple, they had, I spoke to some of them, they were telling that we are not getting girls to marry now in our community. Podu Dikshitas are micro minority. There are hardly some 3,000 odd people there. And they are the ones who manage the Chidambaram temple right from the Chola times. They have been given that duty right from the Chola kings. So now, and then they have been persecuted. Just a few years ago, we learned how virginity tests were conducted on Pudu Dikshitar girls, because it's so-called minor marriage and all those things. And then there were even cases, false cases, SC/ST cases, which were heaped on them. The main target is that is the only big temple with the Brahmins. They want to snatch it back. I mean, Sekhar Babu openly said that we want to snatch it back. So that is again a problem. And as you said earlier, now the government has started the so-called, Archaka course. They have a 6-month course. But in Veda Pathshalas, they spend 8 to 9 years learning the Vedas, not in Vedas, Vedangas, Vedanta, everything. And then after that, they are assistant to the seniors. They nearly spend 12 years of their lives learning and perfecting Vaidika systems, the ritis. So, and they want a quick fix, 6 months course. What are they going to do that? And I would like to you to talk about that. And then secondly, they want to remove Sanskrit mantras from temples, and they want to so-called keep Tamil mantras. I don't know what it is like, because how do you change? And it's madness. And are they going to do it in mosques? Are they going to remove the Arabic, uh, call for azan? Are they going to convert it into Tamil? Are they trying to do that? I mean, I would like to ask them that.
See,
So,
actually, yeah. Yes. See, if you look at this, see, I'm not against other community people coming into an achaga and all, but they have to. And being an achaga or a gurukul is not a job; it is a service. You have to sacrifice your life for that, your family for that, life for that, everything you have to sacrifice. But are they doing that? Now they made it one more job. That's all. They made it into a job, 6 months of diploma course, and then you go and get it. How is it even possible? Even for a church, if you look at the fathers and all, they take 12, 15 years. They train them
yeah,
for that and they become a Maulavi or whoever is in the mosque. He spends his lifetime there. But of course, they are being paid highly. We no comparison between between them and our gurukuls. But how can you do this? 6 months, what he will do? What is it that he is going to gain? And I have seen 50 or 50 odd people were trained, but then most of them have left it. They were given a salary of 10,000 and all, but then many of them have left the jobs because they couldn't stick to it. Recently one issue happened in Tamil Nadu where they were seen dancing in an obscene way and all these people are trained for this achaga, the government trained people only. They were dancing, they were drinking and dancing and all those things, in fact. So now here, when you talk about a service wherein it is about entering into a garbhagraha where we feel is the holiest of the places that we think, and there is a idol that we have kept it, and we feel that that is the one that we are actually praying to. You cannot let everyone in. 6 months of training is nothing. You can't gain anything. So, and for becoming a doctor or for becoming an engineer, how many years of education you have to do, and you are talking about something greater than anything else as a service that you're going to do. You are going to give only 6 months of training is a nonsense, and it is a failure thing. It has already failed. It's not happening anywhere, and people are not. If you ask me, like, people have left the jobs. They came for the salary. They were not paid properly also, and so they left the job, and it's so tedious for them. They couldn't stick to the strict regime of being a gurukul. So many of them left. Now only very few of them are there. So that will be a failure after a period of time. Nobody is going to stay back. In fact, who will always do puja to the in a temple, and live in a temple, and then of course they would want to get married. The next generation, definitely they will not put them in, right? So this is a kind of a job that the religious endowment board has given to them. So I don't think so this will carry on forever. So it's going to be a failure. Now coming back to the next one, if we are talking about so many things about the this Sanskrit not being mantra being, see, mantra is different, and Tamil, we don't have mantras. They're all devotional songs. This is entirely
Devaram.
different. Yeah, it's this. These are devotional songs, bhakti songs, and
Yes.
Sanskrit has given us mantras, right? And we have accepted it. The sound, the mantras, the sound is something which is divine for us, and the kind of the shakti that we get out of it is entirely different. And the bhakti songs are entirely different. Both of a different purpose. We are not going to mix
Yes.
both together. Now consciously they want to, the kind of hatred they have towards Brahmin, they also have towards Sanskrit. But who are they to dictate terms to Hindus and say that you cannot have Sanskrit mantra? Can they have the audacity to go and tell in a mosque you cannot do it in Arabic or whatever
Yes.
language they do? Can they say that? And every morning and the evening 5 times they are doing, are they doing it in Tamil? Whatever they are shouting through that, I'm
Correct.
not sure about it. So they do through the speaker. Are they doing it in Tamil? They are doing it in Arabic. And it is their religious freedom. If you say, then our religious freedom is having our mantras in Sanskrit. And why
Mm,
do you want to stop it? The
mm,
government has nothing to do with it. The
mm,
government
mm,
cannot stop our religious freedom, cannot stop us from having this kind of a mantra.
mm,
Since the temples are in the hold of the government, they are
mm,
pushing it in our throat.
mm,
This is very clear. So this shows that the temples cannot be in their hands. So
mm.
because when the party comes with a particular ideology, they will start pushing it in the temples also. If the temples are in their hand, so the temples have to be out of their hands. So that Hindus take a decision what we want and what we don't want. None of our Hindus in Tamil Nadu has never told them don't have Sanskrit mantras in the temple. Nobody has
Yes.
told them. In fact, in our houses, when we have our Ganapati Homam and other, yagas and everything, we have Sanskrit here. We don't use Tamil here. And we are very happy with it. Even the Davidian party people who are having, Mr. Stalin in his house had Brahmins, Gurukul, who came and did in Sanskrit only. His wife says mantras in Sanskrit.
Mm.
Now, when you have your own liberty and freedom, why are you trying to push it in the, with the Hindus of Tamil? So this is
Abs-
being consciously done to destroy Hinduism. First, they want to destroy Hinduism. They want to destroy the temples. They want to destroy our beliefs. So Sanskrit is not for them. It is for the Hindus, and we will decide whether we want it or not. Unless the people of Tamil Nadu says, let them keep away from it. So being secular doesn't mean that you have to be against the religion, one religion, and support another religion. You have to be out of religion. You keep out of the religion, all the religion, then we will take care of our religion and our religious belief. I think
Absolutely.
it's not the Brahmins who are the saviors of Sanskrit. It's the Hindus of all communities who have to safeguard Sanskrit, because it
Absolutely.
is the mantras that is given to us by our own gods and by our own belief. We think that having Sanskrit mantra gives us the strength that the Hindus will derive from the religion and the faith. I think we
In
all
fact,
have to fight for it.
it is not only the Brahmins who knew Sanskrit. All communities, the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, equally knew Sanskrit, and even the Shudras knew Sanskrit. It is
Yeah.
just like how Tamil has various dialects. Even there in the north, we have Maithili, we have Awadhi, we have Bhojpuri, so many other dialects. So, but Sanskrit is the mother. It's a
Yeah.
Prakrit. So Radha ji, I would like to ask you about your educational trust, which you have started. What kind of a different kind of education are you imparting to your students, which can be replicated by others, wherein we give our children the not just the usual mathematics, sciences, and such other curriculum, but also impart them with Vedic value systems. And so, how are we going to get them introduced to our own tradition and culture? So, can you
Actually,
please
it
enlighten
all
us?
yeah, it all started when I was in Seva Bharati. They had asked us to conduct this cultural classes, mostly
Mm,
in the what do you call the slum places. We could
mm,
say like the places where the underprivileged are living. That's where it was an eye opener for me, and we started those classes. And after that, like when I started my own trust and everything, we had this one day class. It's a one day class for the underprivileged, and also the mostly it is for the Dalit community. We have started doing it, wherein we have teachers who will sit with the students and teach them mantras, of course Sanskrit mantras and Tamil uh, songs and bhakti songs and everything. And we also impart them like how should they behave, what is our culture, what are our values, how are they supposed to behave as a Hindus. So how do we do prayers at home, how do we respect our children. So these are the things actually we started imparting them. So it used to happen earlier, it was like 2 days a week. Now we have made it into one day a week. After the children started we started getting the results that we wanted. In fact, they tell all the mantras, they tell the bhakti songs and everything they sing. And in fact, the parents also said like so we, in spite of the education that they were getting in their respective schools, we find a lot of change. How they touch the feet of their parents when they want to get out of the houses, and how every day they have to feed animals, three animals before they have their own food, how they have to be very clean, what are the things that they can do as a Hindu, how they have to have their tilaks in their foreheads, all these things. And I was so surprised, now the children are telling like we want this to continue, don't stop it anywhere, we are very happy to be here. So that's the kind of a result that we started getting. And it is in fact like I would like to replicate in many places, but I'm a single person. And if you would ask me like personally, I work in Chennai. Actually, I work in some of the slums in Chennai. Still I'm working there. See, it's pathetic. I would say the situation is pathetic. The Dravidian party is to be blamed completely for that. They have not done a single thing for this community. Even the Dalit community, they have not done anything. They simply say that they are saviors, but they have not done anything. Most of them are living in such a pathetic condition. If what they talk about the social justice, there should not have been any slums in Tamil Nadu. But so many slums are there in Tamil Nadu. That means where is your social justice? How has it happened? All these 60, 70 years you have ruled here, but the slums are still existing. Still, slums are still existing, and pathetic living conditions are still there. No, I would always say, like, when I talk to them, make the slums to agraharams. Don't make the agraharams to slums. It is happening the other way. They are converting the agraharams to slums, and they have not lifted the slums to the agraharam kind of place. So I want all the slums to become agraharams, but it is not at all happening because of their pathetic condition. And of course, they have the government wanted them to be like that because they are vote banks for them. If they
yes,
become agraharams, they will not vote for them. They know that very
absolutely.
clearly. And agraharams have been completely removed because they will not vote for them again. So that is why agraharams are no more existing. And they will never live. See, something best is what we will try to achieve, right? Anybody has to achieve what is best. So agraharams had the best of the places for living. Then why the slums cannot move to that level? But here, what is happening? They don't want the agraharams. They've removed it. They made it in such a way that people moved out of it. But what happened to the slums? Have you removed the slums? Is my question. But they have not removed it. Those places is where, like, I'm trying to work with those people. Of course, we are giving a lot of people are being given support for educating themselves. Girls, especially girls, are into a lot of issues. So we try to counsel them, put them in different schools, and then they get educated. And of course, for us, temples are very important. So we
Yes,
renovate the temples, and we do the agamas and everything is done and given
mm,
back to them, and ask them to
yes,
taking care of it. So these are the things that I'm trying to do, because the moment the temple is out of the place, we will
yes.
lose people to other religion. It will
Other,
happen. So that's the
Yeah.
reason I don't want any temples to be, closed or, destroyed. So whenever we see some temple is being, in a very bad condition, we renovate it and give it back to them so that they start doing pujas and everything. And we bring in Brahmin priest and everybody so that they come in and talk to them. In fact, a lot of Brahmin priests have come into these places. They have
Yes.
held pujas there. They have spoken to these people, and there are a lot of things, and they are very happy about it. It is like, I don't want to deny that Dalit community is the most staunch Hindus,
Yes.
and nobody will even believe this. They are the
Yes.
staunch Hindus. I've seen
I
them. The
yes.
only problem with them is, like, slowly they are being feeded, or they're being fed with wrong information and poisonous information by this so-called
Of course.
parties and all these leftist people, and they think it is right. So
Absolutely.
even I didn't have an acceptance. In fact, my name is Radha Teva, right? I would also like to say why I had my name with my community name attached to it, because people thought I'm a Brahmin and started,
Yeah.
insulting me and, all kinds of nonsense. It happened. Then I said I will identify myself as this. Then now you talk of the moment I
I know.
started this, they stopped it.
I
That is
know.
where I felt the
They
pain of
fear
the
the
community.
Tewars a lot, you know. They
Yeah, yeah,
fear
they
the
will not.
Tewars.
So that is the time that I understood what kind of a pain Brahmin women are undergoing here. So
Absolutely.
simple thing is, even an identification of a Brahmin is bringing in so much of toxic comments and other things from these people. Definitely, it is a real challenge for the Brahmins. I don't deny it. But I think as a community, Brahmins have to come together. The other communities will join with them for sure.
Yes.
No doubt about it, because I've seen other communities supporting them. In fact, in the Chidambaram Podu Dikshita problem, it was a different community lawyer who was supporting them. But I never saw any Brahmin, associations or anybody coming in and standing there with them and saying we are supporting. There are so many Brahmin lawyer advocates who
I
are,
know.
big advocates are there. None of them
Yes.
even came to support them.
Sure.
I have never
Yes.
seen that. So I think, that has to go away. So
Yes.
more than that, more than your money, more than your power, everything, it is your community at the end of the day. Please, look into your community, help the community, which is, I mean, the smaller 20 percentage, which is getting marginalized, penalized,
Mm.
and persecuted. Please support them, because you have escaped it,
Yes.
but let them also escape from it.
In this count, I would like to take the name of Uma Anandan ji and T.R. Ramesh ji. They are doing wonderful job, and they come from the Brahmin community, and they have taken up this issue. Although Uma Anandan ji did join the BJP, and she's now the consular for BJP, first time consular for BJP from West Mambalam. That itself is a big fiat in itself. More importantly, she is a temple activist. It is very close to her heart. And T.R. Ramesh ji has done wonderful job through their Temple Worshippers Society. TW has done a wonderful job for temple renovations and take bringing back temples to our own Hindu community. And Radhaji, as you said, you're doing a wonderful job in the education area, and you also mentioned that you particularly stress on giving back the temples to the people, whatever is in a dilapidated status. It's very wonderful. In fact, I also have one of my our associates and friend circle here. He's a Tamilian Brahmin, a retired person. He goes to these slum areas where they are mostly Dalit communities, and they have this problem of drinking. I mean, the men have a problem of alcoholism, severe alcoholism, beating of women, and all those nonsense. So what he started was he started building a temple, asked them to own up the temple, got the women to sing bhajans there. So it became an evening activity. So the men there stopped going to those, alcohol shops or the Tasmac shops. So it even weaned them away from alcoholism. Their families are better, happy, and they're more Hindu now. And so that's how the social system also comes together for community building. So Radhaji, we had a very good session. And Radhaji, I would like to end with how would you like the Brahmin community now to come forward, because as you said, the Brahmin community itself has to take up its challenges. I believe that Brahmins themselves have to play the role of a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, and a Shudra, and the Gurukul, and support the Gurukul community within our Brahmin community. Because Shudras again are great. I mean, they were the ones who built the temples. They were the Shilpakars, right? And the Vaishyas generated wealth for the community. The Kshatriyas protected the community. So we have to bifurcate ourselves into these three heads and then protect the Gurukuls. And I would like to have your views on that. And how do we look forward? How do we protect our Vaidika Dharma?
See, I think See, there are these Brahmin associations and everything. I've been seeing all those things, but these are the elite people. These are the people who are maybe a middle class or upper middle class and the rich class. You're educated, you have enough to take care of yourself. Fine, it's fine for you. But please do understand there is a percentage of Brahmins who are living a very poor life without education. There are many Brahmin families and struggling. To my, so I was so saddened by recently I saw one of the Brahmin family, they committed suicide because they couldn't afford. They were hungry for so many months, and they were so poor they couldn't afford even a 1 day meal, and they committed suicide with family. It recently happened. I don't know how many of you have even noticed that, right?
Mhm.
There are families like that. There are families like that. So your first attempt should be, because Brahmins were given the job of saving the culture, our
Mm,
Vedic Dharma,
mm,
our people from any kind of onslaught from the other religion or other people, other sects and everything. I think Brahmins are moved out of it, so they don't care now. Okay, first you have to save your own people. Some people are
yes,
doing those things with a service mind, without any kind of a returns. Now save them first. Save them first, because they are the people who are actually doing the real work of a Brahmin, not the
yes,
others. Brahmins have
yes,
become Vaishyas, Sudras, and everything now. But there is
yes,
one group of people who are doing that still today. So when
yes,
the like Chidambaram Odivas, when they came up, you have to go and stand with them. The
yes,
entire community has to stand with them. Where were the all those people who are rich? Where are the people who are advocates? Where are the people who are abroad saving serving so many things? Have you ever visited there? I went there, visited, spoken to them. In fact, they were
yes,
all very happy because I have spoken in many medias about them and all. So they
yes,
recognized me and they started talking to me. How many of the associations went there and stood with them is my question. So
yes,
please go and stand with your
yes,
community, which is serving God. They are serving
yes,
God and they are serving us. When they serve
absolutely,
God, it is saving us also. So you have to stand with them. Try to help them. Try to help their families. See, and I have seen in Catholic Christians, they will actually give one of their family members to the church. Okay, so they will devote that person to the church. It can be a lady or it can be a man or a girl or a boy. And they have made it mandatory. I was so surprised to see that. They were very much interested in that. And that girl or a boy will be left in the church. What happens next is a different question altogether. But now, how many of the Brahmins family will encourage their own son or a daughter to become a Gurukul? You will not. You will never allow them to become. But there is a family which is doing that. Only if we support them, they will continue to do so. But we are not supporting them. See, the non-Brahmins, we can only go see them. We can do whatever help that we can do. But the Brahmins have to take an ownership and start helping them. Start forming some kind of a whatever it is, a trust or a whatever it is. See, the government will not help them. Please don't even think the government will help them. You have to form your own trust. You have to form your own organization and start supporting this family with a monthly income at least. And if they
yes,
have children who are interested to become Gurukul, follow the dad's profession or something, please go and help them. Now, with this, all communities can become Archakas and all. I can see Brahmins actually posting so many things in the social media and all. But none of them even challenged it. None of them even went and asked why. See, I'm not telling the only the Brahmins have to do it. Brahmins can do it better than anybody else. That
Yes.
is my point of argument, because you know it better than others. So let us give something to the person who knows it better. I cannot see a driver will be given an ownership of driving the bus, not the conductor who doesn't know about it, unless and until there is an emergency to do it, right?
Yes.
So Brahmins know it better, so they have to continue to do it. I don't think so. You can give it to another community and say you can become a gurukul and you do it. Like Kshatriyas have some kind of a job to be done. Everybody has something to be done, and it's better that person who knows it very well does it. And here the things are happening in such a way that things are being saying that and one thing it makes me happy is these Davidian parties know that being a gurukul is a high status thing. That is the reason they are wanting to bring in people. Though there is
Yes.
no money involved in it, though there is
Yes.
no status involved in it, people have a lot of problem with it. Still, they want to bring it in there. But
Yes.
they have a different agenda altogether, because they want to make the temples not a place to be visited, and then slowly the other Hindus will stop visiting the temples, and slowly the temples will be left alone, and nobody is going to be there, and it will be a haunted place very soon if the Achagas or whoever they are training will come there. So this is what they wanted, and slowly the beliefs also will start falling down.
Mm,
So this is the
mm,
reason they are doing it. We should understand the hidden agenda behind it. So that is the
absolutely.
reason I'm telling the people who know that and who have been doing it for ages together, generations together, they have to take care of the temple, and that
Yes.
group has to be taken care of by the Brahmin community. Of course, get the
Absolutely.
help of the other community. More than willing, everybody will come into your support. But first thing is you have to go and support them and help them. Please
I
see how many gurukuls have. How do you have a data of those gurukuls? How many gurukul families are there? What is the status of their living? Where all they live? Nothing. Nobody is even bothered to know about it. So then who will help them? Who will support them? So I think this is the first thing that they have to do. Do whatever it is. There are so many people who are present here, almost 100 I saw.
yes.
So please, when we are well off, let us return something back to our own society and community. If you do that, it is going to be a punya for you. If you
Absolutely.
don't do that, it is going to be a power for you
Oh,
although again. So that's
absolutely.
what I feel. I think that this
Cannot.
community owns it has an ownership to the culture,
Absolutely.
Vedic knowledge, and the dharma of this Hindu society. I think they have to take it and they have to start doing it.
Absolutely, Radhaji, cannot agree with you more than what you said. We have to take ownership of our own community and come forward and to save the Gurukul community, especially the way who carry on the tradition of the Vedic system, Vedic Vedis, sacrificing their entire lives through ancestry. I mean, so that is very important, even not only for the Brahmin community themselves, it is important for entire Hindu community, for even I would say the entire Loka, because the mantras that are chanted are for the shamam of the whole world. Yoga Kshemam Mahamayam, as they say, so uh, this is where we need to take our own leadership. And I would like to tell to all the viewers here, I'm very sorry. We had very heavy registration for this program. Nearly thousands of people, we had 1,000 registrations, and we can take in only 100 people in Zoom. So I'm very sorry that only 100 people could be accommodated for this live viewing. And we would be putting out videos of this recorded program, which should be circulated, and we also have say offline seminars, so where others can come and join. So we would be, and I would kindly ask all the people who participated and registered to kindly support our global Brahmin platform. The links are given. Kindly follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media, and also kindly donate so that we can carry forward this program. As Radhaji said, when we come to know that there is a family which is nearly at the stage of penury, we can do something about it if we come together, pool, and form some kind of a support group. That is what it is meant for. So I would beseech all people who joined here to kindly come forward and support us and our platform to see to it that we can serve the community, Brahmin community and the Hindus, because it's not just the Brahmins that you're serving, it is the Hindu Sanatana Dharma. They carry the repository of the entire tradition of our Vaidika Dharma. That is why we are stressing on it. It is not the individual which is important. It is the community and the knowledge that is more important. So Radhaji, very many thanks for joining us today and very enlightening and very much best of luck for you for your educational trust. I hope it grows and multiplies over so that we can see your program being, your educational trust being replicated in other areas too, where we can uplift the underprivileged children, especially the girls, because the girls, they carry the culture. I mean, of course, our men are even taught by the girls. That is our tradition. Mata is the first guru. That is our tradition. So that is why, Radhaji, very many thanks for joining us and for your service to Hinduism, Hindus, and being great friends of Brahmins. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Namaskaram.
Adarshi, namaskaram. Very happy to have you here.